Okay, so today we're going to be tier listing the Marvel Rivals characters, but we're going to make our tier list different from everybody else's tier list. And in this one, we're going to actually do it as a history of the character. Where were they at the start of season 0? And where do they end up by the end of season 1.5? And I'm going to talk about all the characters. So I'm kind of excited. I haven't done a tier list, but everybody does tier lists. And honestly, everybody does way too many tier lists. So this one is going to be the definitive tier list, especially if you're a beginner with Marvel Rivals or you haven't played since season 0. In this tier list, we're going to just unpack the evolution of every character throughout the history of this game so far. So let's start it. First character on the list, Adam Warlock. All right. Adam Warlock's like this character, like in season 0, he just seemed like the most like dog shit character because nobody understood his kit and nobody understood what he did. Everyone like nope, like I don't think people understand what Soul Bond even did up until like as recent as like 2 weeks ago. Despite like the higher levels of play, I think everybody, like 99% of the people in this game don't know what Soul Bond does. So for the longest time, Adam was just this D tier ass character, but in reality, I think if people know how to play him, he would have been already like a solid like A tier character. By the start of the game, we're gonna put D tier. He was dog shit. He got some buffs. Didn't really do too much for him. He got a few more buffs, I think. Like half no, he got. Well, I don't know if he got buffs once or twice, but basically he got buffed. He got buffed again, but while he was getting buffed, people were actually learning how to play this character. And now, by the end of season 1.5, I'm not going to put him right in S, but he's really high A tier, if anything close to S tier. People are learning how to use his revive. People are understanding that Soul Bond is basically a mini ultimate that can save your team from so many situations or help your team engage. Soul Bond is like amazing for saving your teammates, and it's on a 25-second cooldown. And Adam brings the strongest team up to the game. People are discovering how good the free revive is with Mantis, Star-Lord, having those people get free revives. Adam brings so much to the team. And then his ultimate, if you plan it well, you don't really need a second support ultimate because basically you can do the support ultimate fights. And if your team loses, you just revive and basically negate the enemy team support ultimate. So Adam, A tier. Solid A tier. Honestly, he's really close to S tier, but I might be biased because I've been playing a lot of Adam lately. Also, he's hit scan like hella, so he's good for dealing with ranged people, and he can put out a lot of damage for a healer. Black Panther. Okay, I'm going to say at the start of the game, at season 0, Black Panther just seemed like this S tier menace of a character because everyone was new at the game, and Black Panther's mobility in his kit is just so crazy that he's just all over the place, and like he was just destroying all teams, noob teams. At higher levels of play, he probably wasn't as good because people actually more understood the game more, but he was definitely a solid character in season 0. And then he got a few nerfs in the next patch. So he fell from grace slowly to A, but I think he's fallen from grace even more. Like it's gotten to the point now to where the player base is really understanding Black Panther's kit and actually know how to play against him. So I think Black Panther is like a B tier right now. He might even be a little lower, like in C situational, because people got better at the game. People understand what he does, and he's not this end all be all noob stomper character anymore because people are understanding how to play against him. New characters getting introduced like the Thing, which has a smash ability that could shut down Black Panther's mobility. So Black Panther has just been slowly falling from grace, but he used to be just cracked and like this menace. And on occasion, you might stumble across a Black Panther that's like really crazy, but more often than not, he's just like this B hit or miss character. Honestly, I'm really tempted to put him in C. We might put him in C later. This is not permanent. Black Widow. All right, she was like the worst character at the start of this game. Granted, if you put the time into her and get good at her and learn her mechanics, you could still carry games with her. Like that's why I was going to call this D tier, the trash tier. But in reality, like all the characters in this game are pretty good and viable in certain situations. Like I don't think there's anyone in the game who's just flat out dog shit trash. But Widow was close. And then she got some buffs. And people are starting to learn how to use her more. So she's not as bad anymore. I still think personally she's missing something. You could put her in C situational, occasionally kind of pop off. If someone's really good at her, she could probably be B, like a decent or miss, but I'm not going to put her any higher than that. If you have a Mantis pocketing you, sure, you can get some headshots, but most Widows, there are a few cracked ones out there, but most Widows are just D tier, just really bad. Like I get happy when I see a Widow on the enemy team. That's all I'm going to say. Hulk. Hulk's a funny one. At the start of season 0, he was like this dog shit tank, and everyone thought he was complete trash, complete garbage. By the end of season 0, people learned how to play a Hulk. People understood the game and team up with Iron Man, and then Hulk became just crazy, meta, super cracked, and like basically on the perma ban list until like recently. I think now you don't see as many Hulk bans, but he was like perma banned for the longest time. Got some nerfs this patch. I think maybe it like dropped him down to an A tier, but honestly, I'm not gonna put him lower than that. But you don't see a lot of Hulks anymore. People just kind of stopped using Hulk. Gamma Team Up got a little nerf. Hulk got a little nerf. But if you put a lot of time in Hulk and you're really good, you can still carry games with Hulk. He's still a solid A tier character. I know a lot of tier lists are putting him in like B or C, but I think people just kind of forgot about Hulk. And you'll notice a trend here while we're doing this video. There's been lots of times where people have just forgotten about characters for periods of time. Let's move into the next one. Captain America. I'm a Captain America main, so it does kind of hurt me to put him here at the start of season 0. I don't think I realized how weak he was when I started playing him. I just thought his playstyle was fun, so I just kept playing him. And I played him really well. I think the average Captain America is like D tier because he requires more or less advanced mechanics to auto attack cancel your melee. And then understanding that his ultimate's actually a support ultimate, learning to turn around and look at your team. Captain America, and then his gameplay is just so fast, you're all over the place. Captain America is a hard character to play. And that's why I'm going to put him in D for the average Captain America. But in season 0, I think if you were solid, you'd be at least in like a C or B tier. Now, Cap got some buffs. He got buffed twice. And a lot of things of his kit have been fixed. He still has a little bit of input delay before he can bring your shield up again. But I think if they fix that 1 second delay on Captain America, he would be secretly cracked. I think he already is secretly cracked. Like I'm going to put him in B hit or miss because there's some games you just don't really get anything done as Captain America. And then there's some games where the enemy backline just can't deal with you either. You're killing them or you're just keeping their supports distracted the entire game that they can't heal their teammates and you guys win the fight. Or you save your team with your support ultimate. So right now, I'm saying like Cap, I might be biased just because I'm a Cap main and I know how good he is. No tier list puts Cap in like the A tier, but I think he's secretly slept on. We're gonna do it. This is my tier list. This is my crazy tier list. I think if you're a really good Cap and actually understand the ins and outs of him, he might be low A tier. We might bump him to B tier. We'll see where all these characters end up. Okay, we'll split up. This isn't the final version, but right now, after a few patches, a few buffs, I think people are starting to catch on to how decent Cap could be, but a lot of the community still sleeps on Cap. Cloak and Dagger. Oh my god, Cloak and Dagger is a wild one. She was always, I think, S tier, but nobody really realized she was S tier. And then at the end of season 0, she got buffed, and then her ultimate got that 4th swing. And then all of a sudden, Cloak was just cracked. Cloak was everywhere. Cloak was just dominating. Like she was like the most popular character in this game at one point. And then towards the end of the season, Cloak got some nerfs. But not only did Cloak get some nerfs, people discovered that Magneto's ultimate, you can actually just time it and hit Cloak after her 3rd dash and kill her every single time. So this was already happening before Cloak and Dagger started getting nerfed. She got a few small nerfs to her ultimate, a few buffs in other areas. But since that, she's actually really fallen from grace. Like her win rate's plummeted, her pick rate's plummeted, and she just doesn't do as much. Like her healing ultimate is still pretty good, but doesn't last nearly as long as some of the other supports we're going to talk about. But right now, Cloak and Dagger, she's still okay. But she is not as good as she used to be. Like she used to be way, way better. Trust. Doctor Strange. Honestly, really not much to say. He's been like the staple tank for the longest time. He's gotten a few little nerfs here and there, but he still does what he does. He brings a strong teleport, so you can teleport once every 180 seconds and get into some critical locations. He's got solid range, decent burst damage. He can Eye Agamotto, get free team wipes that way. He's not top S tier like he used to be, but I'm going to put him in probably like low S tier, but it's Doctor Strange still solid. Really good main tank, really good duo tank. And really never go wrong with Doctor Strange on your team. Groot. All right, at the start, nobody really knew what the heck they were doing with Groot. He was kind of like C tier. He was never garbage. He was never bad to me. But slowly over time, people learned how to use his ultimate. And Groot hasn't, I don't think Groot's really had any like crazy changes. He got a small buff to the distance of his walls, but besides that, Groot's kind of always been Groot. I just think people didn't know how to play him. But now at this stage of the game, Groot he's really solid. He might even be S tier. Like I don't play Groot, so it's hard for me to kind of say, but people have been popping off. People are learning how to combo Groot ults with Namor ults, Groot ults with Moon Knight ults. He's got a lot of good things going for him, especially if you're good at putting up your walls. He does get hard countered by Wolverine. We'll keep him in the A tier. I think he's like top of A tier right now with Adam, with Hulk and Captain America my bias, Captain America a little lower. Moving on. Hawkeye. Okay, Hawkeye. All right, if anybody doesn't know, season 0 was the Hawkeye Hela meta. We're just going to put both of these here in S tier right now. We'll talk about both of them. Hawkeye and Hela were just absolute menaces in season 0, but nobody really knew how to counter them. Nobody really knew how to play around their ultimates. Eventually, Strange just started flying up into Hela ults and shielding them. That was really cool to see. And then I would always go Captain America. And I think that's why I like season 0 and Cap so much, because I would always dive Hawkeyes and Hellas. I never had a problem with them because I was this hypermobile tank. But most of the community had problems with these characters. So by the end of season 0, they both got some nerfs. And they kind of fell from grace. They were never bad. I think Hela was always still S tier. I'm going to leave her in S tier. But there was this period after she got some minor nerfs, her health pool, a little bit to her damage, everybody just stopped playing Hela. Everybody stopped playing Hela up until like a few weeks ago. And she got like a small, like little buff, but not like anything super crazy. And now she's this crazy S tier meta again, probably the best DPS in the game right now, just for all the situations she's good in. But there was that time, even though she was S tier, it was like she was like a D tier character because nobody picked her for like a month straight. I swear to God, that's what it felt like. Hawkeye, on the other hand, he kind of fell from grace. I think he got like some slight buffs. And honestly, you could still get a really cracked Hawkeye in your team from time to time. I'm going to put him in B tier above Black Panther for sure. Close above Black Panther for sure. Black Panther's bottom. Hawkeye might even be low A tier. We'll see how the tier list looks. But Hawkeyes can still really pop off. People are sleeping on Hawkeye right now. He's still pretty decent at doing what he does, what he always did. Iron Fist. This is like a weird one. I think in low ELO at the start of this game, he was like this S tier noob stomper character, but players actually kind of knew how to play against him. He was just like a B situational, decent hit or miss character. Then he got kind of a little rework this season, so he's a little better at tanks, but not as good at getting squishies. I'm really not sure where Iron Fist even sits right now. I'll put him in C tier as like a situational character. I've seen like the random Iron Fist pop off and just go absolutely crazy, and I have no idea what he's doing. And he makes Iron Fist almost look meta. But the average Iron Fist is going to struggle, and this character is still really wrestling with what his identity is. Is he a tank buster? Is he a diver? People are really still figuring that out. And I think until we figure that out, we don't really know 100% where to put Iron Fist. Iron Man went from being D at the start of season 0, dog shit character, nobody knew how to play. Gamma team up with Hulk was discovered. He was S tier crazy meta. Gamma team up got a little nerf. And then people just kind of randomly forgot about Iron Man to like C tier. Then Iron Man has been slowly getting a couple of buffs, but really people haven't been. I think Iron Man's better than people give him credit for, but nobody's been really using Iron Man lately. But I think he's still really good. He's got some really good buffs to his AoE damage. He doesn't really need the Gamma team up anymore to do what he does. His ultimate eats through support ultimates. Iron Man's solid. He's solid. People are getting better at aiming now, and with Hela being so dominant, Iron Man can struggle. So that's where we're putting him in B tier. But he's still a decent pick if you're good with him. Jeff. Oh my God. Jeff is the craziest character. When he came out and nobody knew how to dodge his ultimates and the 5Ks were just happening like crazy, he was just this S tier menace of a character for like his first month. And then after the first month, he became just this meme character who was just like, why is Jeff on the team? He's dog shit. He's ass. And as season 0 has progressed to the end of season 1.5, we've discovered that Jeff is secretly a he is secretly like a DPS character. He is basically just this backline menace. You play him in triple support. You have 2 healers doing healing, so Jeff doesn't have to heal, and Jeff can just flank and be a menace in the backline. If you get good at that hit and run playstyle on Jeff and just clapping cheeks from behind their backline, he's a menace. He's like top of B. How do you even be bottom A, slept on like Cap? Oh, we'll see. That's kind of wild right there. We're going to keep it like this here. We're going to keep it like here. And more I think about it, I think we're going to put Cap in high B. Sorry, Cap. Nah, B's getting crowded. We'll keep him in A. All right, next one, Loki. Loki's always been cracked. People at the start of this game, Loki was like that character that just took a while to like learn, to get used to learn how to play him. But if you did invest some time in him and you learn how to play him, he's been S tier the whole time. I don't think he's had really much changes. His clones give you like 5 seconds of basically invulnerability if you're inside him, kind of like a mini ult. He was shining towards the end of season 0 when we got into the triple support meta. That's when Loki started popping off. People realized, oh, we can copy cloak ults, we can copy whatever ults, and Loki, since then to this day, S tier character. If you know how to play him, he brings so much utility and so much value to the team, and probably one of the strongest healers. I think he's tied with like Luna and Viz for strongest healer. But S tier, not much to say. Luna, She hasn't really been changed much since the game started. She's been S tier since day one. Her ultimate lasts for 12 seconds. You can save teams. There's so many memes about it. That's just Luna's identity. She's got a snowball that she can CC divers to try and stay alive. She's got decent sustain. She's got good burst healing. She can put her E on divers and heal your flankers and flyers. Not much to say about Luna. She's S tier. Has always been S tier. Hasn't really been changed much. And frequently kind of gets banned, especially for her team up with Namor to bring him the ice turret. Really, not much to say. Luna's just been top dog since this game launched, and she's still top dog right now. Magic. Magic is... Oh my god, it's really hard to know where to put Magic. She's either really good or like really bad, and she hasn't really been changed too much since this game started. And got to a point where people were getting pretty good at Magic up to a few weeks ago, but now it doesn't really seem like Magic has been a threat that much these last couple of weeks. I don't know. I think Magic's identity is still also being figured out. And then especially like learning the comp, she shines. There are some crazy Magics, but we'll put Magic top of B. She's really good. We'll put Hawkeye over here too, next to Jeff. I think this looks better. Cloak. I'll keep Cloak up there. B's kind of getting crowded. Yeah, we'll put her at top of B. She could be a menace or she could just do absolutely nothing. You got to be patient with her though. That's just like this game of just waiting for your moment. Magneto. Magneto would be top dog. I would say he was always tied with Strange for top dog, but since season 0, he's been solid. Has no really hard counters. His ultimate has been discovered and is really good at countering Star-Lord, killing Cloak and daggers. He's got a barrier to absorb projectiles, Iron Man ults, Groot ults, you name it, it absorbs it all. Bubbles to make people invulnerable and save them from things they wouldn't normally live through, and he's decent against Wolverine with his own bubbles. Good range to poke at the back line. And then he got some buffs, so now he can just left click, right click, left click, and basically you just instant kill a squishy. So I think he's actually a little better than Strange right now. He can solo tank, he can duo tank. Magneto's got it all in the bag, so we're having Magneto S tier. Hella S tier for DPS, and then right now the healers are pretty much tied. Mantis, S tier at season 0. Got some small nerfs. When she got her mobility nerfs, people forgot about this character, and nobody used her, even though she was still probably always S tier, A tier really good. And she's still A tier really good. We're starting to see her a little more and more. I'm going to put her behind Adam because I think Adam's a little better. Her ultimate's not as crazy as like Luna Invisible Woman's, but if you're good with her, she's like a DPS. She can kill a lot of people. She gets to team up with Adam so she can revive herself. Mantis is still a really strong pick on your team. And she's still really good, even with the slight mobility nerf. Moon Knight. Oh god, he's that. Moon Knight's been crazy. So basically he went from this A tier, badass, noob stomper character. He got a few buffs and then he was just popping off, especially when his ultimate was glitched and it was doing double damage. Moon Knight was S tier. He really shined in the three support meta at the end of season 0, started season 1. And he was really good against triple support comps. But the problem with Moon Knight is that if he gets dived, he loses. And he basically loses every single 1v1 in this game. And then he got his ultimate a little bit nerfed. And he has fallen from grace, man. I'm going to just, honestly, he's going to be D tier. I think Moon Knight really needs buffs. Black Widow, yeah, we'll keep these both here D tier. Moon Knight is probably the worst character in the game right now, which is crazy, but people learn how to play against Moon Knight. You see healers diving Moon Knights and taking them 1v1 and killing Moon Knights now. If a Moon Knight can sit in the backline and spam his onk, he still does a lot of damage. He's still a menace. He can still carry games that way. But most people, especially if you get higher ranks, are really good at dealing with Moon Knight. Like if you're a Moon Knight one trick and you're playing a low ELO, you probably do all right up until like gold and platinum. But once you start getting to like diamond and grandmaster, you're going to probably struggle a lot and find a lot of games where you just don't want to be playing Moon Knight because, you know, your team up isn't the best. And he definitely needs a buff, like at least another like hook or something so he can kind of get away and at least fight back better. Namor. Ooh, Namor. All right, Namor was like this character who was like good. People knew he was good against diving. He shined with Luna's team up in the Frost turret. But as the game's progressed, people have really discovered that Namor is definitely an S tier DPS. He is the king at countering Spider-Mans. He's the king of anti-dive. His Frost turret is just annoying to deal with, slows people. You frequently see people banning Luna just so Namor doesn't get played. Without the Luna team up, though, he's probably definitely not as good. He's like an A or B, but I'm assuming it, like we're putting him S tier because you always played Namor with Luna. If you can get that team up, that's a really strong team up. And Namor is like this character who's just really good against dive characters, but even if it's not a dive team, he's still solid DPS. He does crazy output. You can flank with no more. You can get creative. You got a bubble to go invincible. Namor has basically just got it all going on right now. Penny Parker. This is another good situational one. Like it's really hit or miss with her, man. You can see some pennies that are like really good, like almost like A tier good. And there's some matchups where Penny is absolutely freaking impressive, and you can put her mines in certain spots and basically counter anything the enemy does. And then there's a lot of Penny techs still being invented and a lot of creative ways you can play Penny. And there's even a Penny who's in the top 500 eternity, which is just a testament to show that whatever character you want to play in this game, you could still do really well with them. Even if it's like in C or D tier, like you can still carry if you learn the in and out to get creative and learn how to play those characters. Because like the Penny I was watching had really creative play style, like the top 500 Penny, and she can do some nasty things, but the average player doesn't know how to do that and ain't going to be doing that. So we're putting her in C tier situational. She can be really good on defense, not the best on offense. Some maps are really good for her, and a lot of maps are just kind of so-so for her. And a lot of times you'd really rather have one of the other tanks, like a Thing, a Captain America, Magneto, Strange. But Penny has her moments, so we'll put her in the C tier. Psylocke. Psycho's like this S tier menace at the start of the game. And her ultimate was basically just free wins. People learning to play against her ultimate. Ultimate got a little nerfed. She kind of fell down from grace. Always has been really good though. I think there's early DPS in this section. Yeah, she's still really good if you know how to play her. We don't see too many Psylocks anymore, but she's still a good character, and she still has a lot to offer in the terms of dive and flanking. And her team up with Magic and Black Panther is really good for them. Oh no, her team with Magic and Black Panther is really good for her, but you don't really see that kind of comp being around. It's very rare you'll see like a Magic, Black Panther, Psylocke full dive comp, but it could work. And she as a character is still really solid DPS. Punisher. Punisher is decent. I put him in decent. He's never been like crazy oppressive. He's really good with the rocket team up for the infinite ammo. We could maybe even put him into A tier for that. Like A tier with the team up, but just playing him by himself. Solid B tier. You can see some Punishers really popping off with him. I think DPS Jeff is still better. Hawkeye is probably still better. But Punisher can still pop off a lot. And that's it. He's just kind of this well-rounded DPS character. Doesn't do anything super fancy or special. Has a turret. Really good with his team up. And his ultimate can kill through support ultimates with Rocket's ult. So we'll put him in B. He's a hit or miss character. He can like hyper carry, or he can kind of just do nothing. He just gets smashed. Rocket Raccoon. All right, we're doing it. We're putting Rocket in A tier. Rocket, I think, is still really good. I don't think he's as good. He's not like high A. He's not S tier, but I think he's like low A tier. Like Rocket's win rate is through the roof right now. He's been a solid character since day one. He hasn't really had anything change about him except a small buff to his healing. But the thing with Rock is that he's got great mobility. He's got a lot of ways to survive. He's a really small hitbox. His BRB brings a free revive to the team every 45 seconds and can cause equilibrium. Like usually team fights are 6v6. One person gets picked, and then the 6-man team rolls the 5-man team just because of numbers game. But with Rocket's BRB, even if one of your players gets picked, they're back in the fight instantly if you put it in a smart location. So it keeps parity. And I think that's the secret. That's the hidden sauce as to why Rocket's win record is so high and why he brings so much value to the team, even though it's not perceived. It doesn't have a flashy team saving ultimate. His damage boost ultimate is good if teammates know what they're doing with it for killing people. But he's solid. He's easy to play. But also if you master him and like learn all of his mobility, his double dash wall tech, how to wall crawl well, using his gun, aiming with his gun, getting in point blank race of players and melting with his gun, Rocket's actually a really aggressive, crazy good support. But we're putting him in low A tier. I think Adam and Mantis are probably still better. But Rocket brings a lot to teams, and too many tier lists sleep on Rocket. Put him in B or C. Like, nah, Rocket's good. You guys are crazy. You guys are still sleeping on Rocket. He's so good. Wanda. I've never thought Wanda was like bad. People have always thought Wanda was like really bad. Honestly, I think she's putting her in like B tier, man. I think she's better than Iron Fist. I think she can be better than Penny. Okay, the thing with Wanda, nobody really knows her playstyle. And the only reason I'm bumping, we'll put her in C. We need some more people in C tier. We'll put her top of C. Wanda's playstyle is actually like if you play her like behind your frontline tank and just shred the front line, spam out your balls, use your E to peel and like stun divers who dive you, or just to CC their tanks. And then her ultimate, that's the thing people get wrong and have been getting wrong since the dawn of time. The way to use Wanda's ultimate is like when you're in the like high ranks and you're doing these games where it's just like Luna ult, now the other Luna ults, now the Invisible Woman ults, And now my cloak and dagger ults. This is where Wanda shines, because whenever you guys have two support ults going, if Wanda pops her ultimate during the team fight, even though the enemy team support ult's going, Wanda's ult is 750 to everybody, it's going to blow up basically everybody. But you pop your ultimate, assuming you play around any stuns or CC, you're just going to get a free team wipe and a free win, because the enemy team, even though they have a support ultimate, they're going to have to back off because Wanda's ult will kill them. And if they try to kill you, your support ult is going off and is healing you. If you play Wanda like that, she's slept on and really good. Honestly, definitely B. Yeah, she's going to be easily be B tier. You can pop off with Wanda. But I'm going to put her in situational for the average player base. Spider-Man. Bruh. I just might be like the opposite of Spidey-Man, an absolute hater. Like, yeah, sure, there's Necros and there's the occasional cracked Spider-Man. Okay, here's the thing. If you play Spider-Man, 99% of Spider-Man players think they're like they're God's gift to this game, and they're like the most cracked Spideys out there. But in reality, it's like only 1%. And 1% is generous. The average Spidey is going to just throw. He's going to play like crap. He doesn't have his mechanics down, and he hasn't invested 50 hours into mastering his character. Like those Spider-Mans, I'm putting in C tier. But if you're the 1%, 0.1% of Spider-Mans, and every Spider-Man in the audience is already thinking the same, I can guarantee you. But yeah, we're just going to say it. If you were like that 1%, Spidey's kind of cracked. He can be kind of cracked in the right situation, especially teamed up with Venom. But on average, he's going to be here. I don't think he needs buffs. I think he needs players' IQs to increase. That's where we're going with Spider-Man. Squirrel Girl. Squirrel Girl was kind of just like this below average character at the start of the game. She was easy to use. Her ultimate didn't track, and then her stun was hard to hit. Her stun got buffed. Her ultimate got buffed to where it tracked. She was A tier for a hot minute, especially against the triple support meta. She was really good at dealing with triple support. And now I would say Squirrel Girl's definitely like fallen from grace. Honestly, she was A tier in triple support meta, and I think she's still really good against triple support. But in any other matchup, the thing with her team up's really good, but Squirrel Girl and Spider-Man don't naturally just pair well together in a team. I'm gonna put her top of C. I think she's better than Wanda. I think she could still occasionally pop off, and against the right comps, like Squirrel Girl can be really good. But on average, the average player base, I think she's fallen down to like a C tier, situational. Could pop off from time to time, but not as consistently as the B tier characters. Star-Lord! Oh my god. Star-Lord's cracked, guys. He's so good. I think he was always good. Got a buff to his boost. Like season 0, I think he was S tier. By the end of season 0, he was really weak when Magneto's discovered how to counter his ultimate. But not only that, but the worst thing was actually triple support meta. Because like in triple support meta, Star-Lord couldn't get any kills with his ult, and he kind of just fell from grace down to B tier. Not really getting picked, not really seeing a lot of play. I think he was always still A tier, still really good. Got a buff to his jetpack. Triple support meta ended. And now Star-Lord's top dog. He's really good. He's got crazy mobility. He's really good at flanking. He can deal with flyers. He can just hard carry games easily. And he's got the Atom team up. Like that just makes him get 2 lives. Star-Lords are cracked, man. Star-Lords are like doing what Spider-Man's wish they could do. Let's just put it that way. Storm. Definitely the weakest character at the start of the game, which is why I mained her. And actually, I popped off with Storm when she sucked. She got some buffs. Everybody thought she was S tier. She might actually still be S tier. She's pretty damn good. But I don't think she's better than Hela or Star-Lord. Or Namor. She might actually be A tier now. But she was S tier for the longest time. And the thing is, because Storm got buffed, people started using Storm. But nobody knew how to play against Storm because she was so weak and nobody ever had to play against Storm. They didn't know what her ultimate did. And then all of a sudden, Storm just seemed like this crazy, oppressive, super strong character, even though she was still doing what she did before, but just doing it better. And now that people were playing her, people hadn't learned how to play against Storm players yet. Got to this point where she was always being banned. Didn't really get much changes. Got like a small little slap on the wrist nerf this season. But people learned that Storm isn't the end all be all. People know how to play against her ultimate now. People aim and shoot her out of the sky now. Like the thing with Storm is that she does struggle with like vertical lateral mobility when she's flying. She doesn't really have crazy mobility. So if you misposition once and get caught off guard, you're just dead as Storm. And for that reason, actually, we'll put her in A tier. She really isn't the crazy menace that she used to be. We'll put her like over here. I think that's pretty. Hulk. We'll put Hulk a little whatever. All right, that looks good so far. Yeah, so yeah, we're gonna put her in A tier. She's still really strong. Doesn't get banned as much anymore, but people's aims are getting better. Thor. Always been good. Always been a menace. Noob Stomper. Like, the thing with Thor is that you can just... Like, Thor was good, and then Thor got some buffs to make him a little bit more fluid. So now he's still pretty strong. I don't know if he's... Alright, I don't know if he's A tier or top of B. I think at least like top of B now. The thing with Thor is that you can carry games with Thor. He's like not really like the tankiest tank, but he's like one of the highest DPS tanks, and he can shred, he can get kills, he can hold off ankles, he can contest high grounds. Thor brings a lot of utility to the team. He's a really good brawler. He can even die if he needs to. People learn how to use his E to slow people before ulting. His ult got a little buff too to make him CC immune, which is great. Thor's good. The thing with Thor though is that his playstyle, his hyper aggressive playstyle, what you can get away with playing from like bronze to like probably even high diamond now, stops working and fizzles out in Grandmaster and Celestial. Once players get better and start punishing you, you're gonna have this point where you just feel absolutely useless as Thor because you got so used to that playstyle you were playing up until diamond. It just doesn't really work anymore in Grandmaster and beyond. And that's where Thors are going to struggle. There's still some Thors that can pop off. But he's not like this free win character. I think in low ELO, this character can be free wins up to Platinum Diamond for sure. I'm gonna put him at the top of it or miss. I think he's really good. Better than these characters. But I don't think he brings as much as these other characters can to the game. Venom. I think Venom was always good. He was just kind of slept on. So maybe like B tier in the early seasons. But he got a couple buffs. And slowly, but surely, people have been discovering how freaking good Venom actually is. I'm going to put him at top of A tier. He's better than Hulk for sure. He's really good right now. He might even be like low S tier. Like, Venoms are learning how to play Venom, and Venoms are popping off. Like, not much to say there. He hasn't had like crazy amount of changes in this game, just small little buffs here and there. But I think people are discovering how tanky and crazy of a menace Venom is. So we're putting this guy at like top of A for sure. Winter Soldier. Dude's always been cracked. Always been cracked. But he was countered in Season 0 by Hela and Hawkeye. Those were like his natural counters, and they were a menace in that meta. People didn't really think Bucky was that good, even though I watched some really good Bucky players, and I knew he was like pretty solid. But then Hela and Hawkeye got nerfed, and Bucky got buffs. And Bucky slowly over the end of Season 0, or Season 1 to the end of Season 1, has become an absolute menace. Like, he's probably... We're going to put him actually in front of Hela. I will put him right back behind Hela. Hela's still better. But the thing is, if Hela gets banned, it's always going to be a Bucky. And Hela like shuts down Bucky. Hawkeyes can still shut down Bucky, but you don't see a lot of Hawkeyes anymore. So Hela's always going to usually be banned. So then Winter Soldier just goes crazy unless people just go ahead and ban Winter Soldier off the bat. He's really solid. He's got his resets on his ult. He can hook people in. He's pretty tanky with his shields as a DPS. Brings a lot to the team. Can't go wrong with him. Wolverine. All right, dude. Wolverine at the start of Season 0, everyone thought this dude was the most dogshit character. At the end of Season 0, people learned how to play Wolverine and discovered he was really fucking good at just dealing with fucking tanks. He was just an absolute menace. I'm actually going to put him in front of Bucky. And then he also got buffed at around the same time people were discovering how to use him. And then he became like the character that was insta-banned for like a month or 2 months straight. He still gets banned a lot now. Tanks don't want to deal with him. He's not as good since the introduction of things, since Invisible Woman's learned how to counter him, and since a lot of times tanks on high levels will play like Magneto and Thing, just so they don't have to worry about Wolverine. But if it's not Magneto and Thing as your tanks, Wolverine is going to destroy you. This dude is crazy right now. He's still crazy, but he doesn't see as much play anymore. And honestly, he's kind of fallen from popularity. We'll put him down a little lower because he's not really... People aren't really playing him too much anymore, even though he's still the really good tank buster he's always been. And a good Wolverine's a menace. Mr. Fantastic. I think he was like this hit or miss character when he came out. His ultimate definitely seemed weak, but he had some good things going for him. I mean, he was kind of like this weird, like off-tank, pseudo super tanky Mr. Fantastic. You'd see a couple of them popping off and just running havoc against enemy teams, and you'd see some who just, melted and died. Then he got some changes that were supposed to be like buffs for him, but they ended up not really being buffs. His cooldowns got a little longer, and then his ultimate does more damage now, but people are really kind of upset with those changes and think he was better before the changes. So I think they just need to buff him and change him in a different direction, and maybe a small damage boost to his ultimate, and then reset his cooldowns on his E's and his grabs back to 8 seconds. I think they're like 10 now. I think that could probably put him in a better place. Invisible Woman, S tier since the day she locked. Probably the most popular support right now. So we'll put her in the top here. We'll put her here. Put Luna here. I mean, I think all three of these are tied for the first spot for supports, but Viz is the most popular. People are getting really creative with their abilities. She brings so much utility and craziness to the team. Team saving ultimate, a lot of cheeky plays you can do with her. You can shut down Wolverines. Viz is just good. She's good. There's not much to say. The Thing. All right, The Thing. Okay, I don't know what happened. As you notice, my tier list is already at the end part, but my Thing and Human Torch got cut out. So here, The Thing. Guys, The Thing is an S tier tank. The Thing is really good. He's CC immune. Can't get Wolverine jumped. Invisible Woman can't boop him. You hug the cart. You play around terrain. You engage with your divers with your E. You use your E to get out of trouble. You go into your charge. You get 200 extra shielding. You're CC immune and can just boop people, get out of trouble, combo people. You're doing an AoE right-click punch that farms so much ult charge so insanely quick that you can just get your ult way too quick in fights. Guys, The Thing's a menace. He's really good, especially against like Doctor Strange and Mag. Like against double shield, The Thing's gonna carry. He's strong right now. The Thing is really good, and I'm really happy he's really good. He's my favorite tank. He's the only tank I play in GM these days. I'm basically a Thing main now. Thing Cap Rocket. Yeah. Dude, I'm like the tank Rocket main and Magneto. But yeah, and then the last one, guys, Human Torch. He got some buffs. Okay, so Human Torch came out. He seemed pretty weak. Didn't really see anybody popping off them. They buffed him. I think they buffed him twice already. I haven't really seen any crazy Human Torches. His team up with Storm is really gnarly. Like if Storm and Human Torch play together, that can just be absolutely a nightmare to deal with if they're comboing their ults. But besides that, I think he's in the D, needs buffs or needs some changing. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I hate the way he flies. The way he flies just feels really weird. I wish he just flew more like Iron Man. It doesn't feel like Human Torch to me. I think all the characters here in the D tier could probably use like little buffs or an ability in some way to be more viable, and to kind of shine a little bit more. Like I think the cool thing about Marvel Rivals, guys, is that you, like I said, you can be a badass Moon Knight or Human Torch or Mr. Fantastic or Black Widow. Like it's not the easiest thing to do in the world right now, but they're out there, and there's even like there's a Penny Parker in top 500 Eternity. Guys, the cool thing about Marvel Rivals is that the meta's always shifting, and the characters that are good or bad are always like swapping spots. Like S2 characters become D tier, and then D becomes S, and there's a lot of unique interactions yet to be discovered in this game. And that's what's so cool about this game, is that even though all these characters are in tier lists, like I'm just saying, you know, S tier obviously going to be the easiest ones to probably climb with if you get really good on them, but you can climb and play good at Marvel Rivals with any character. And that's the beauty of this game, guys. So I hope you enjoyed my first ever history of Marvel Rivals tier list and kind of where everybody's been throughout the entire course of this game's existence from season 0 to 1.5. So please leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Comment down below and let me know, where would you put people on this tier list? Did I get something wrong? And where do you think people deserve to be on this tier list? And also, if you're a viewer who didn't know the history of the meta of Marvel Rivals, did you enjoy this episode for that? Let me know. I want to know y'all's comments. Just comment. Engage. Let's talk about shit. Until next time, have an amazing day. Don't forget to smile. Like this video for the algorithm and help your boy out. Comment down below and have an amazing day. Yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.